Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Em and this is my weekly wrap-up video about what I have read in this past week. I didn't DNF a thing, which was nice. And also what I'm planning to read as we roll into the weekend. It's a long weekend for us. My kids don't have school on Monday and I don't have work for MLK Day. Hoping to get a little bit of extra reading in. Probably not though, because all three kids will be home and reading is very hit or miss when they are here. But for what I read this week, let's just dive right into it. I finished The Heretic Royal by G.A. Aiken. This is the third book in the Scarred Earth saga. I don't think anything actually happened in this book, plot-wise. There's lots of banter. There was quite a few battle scenes, and there was a little bit of a romance. But it really did feel like it suffered from middle book syndrome. I felt like Aiken was just trying to get everyone to where they need to be for book 4. I feel like book 4 is going to be like where we really have these two sisters opposing queendoms finally have like the big epic battle to decide to find out which sister will rule. So this one, I don't know, it's hard. I still really like the series. I think it's really fun. I think if you like banter and if you like really sarcastic, vengeful characters, you know, that's an interesting combination. Then this series is really fun. I still highly recommend Blacksmith Queen. I think Blacksmith Queen is a real good time. But I don't know about this book. I even own, you can see it right there, I own the other two. And I don't know if I'll go and buy this one, honestly. Because while I can see myself rereading Blacksmith Queen and The Princess Knight, I don't know that I would reread The Heretic Royal. Unless like once the whole series comes out, maybe I'll want to marathon it. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, it was a good time, but not great if you are a plot-driven reader. Next book I finished was my reread of A Marvelous Light. I had forgotten how achingly romantic Freya Marsk's language is in this book. Especially when Robin and Edwin are thinking about each other. Oh my gosh. Like I really just tabbed whenever they were thinking lovely things about each other. That's what I tabbed. And whenever Adelaide was being snarky. But if you don't know, this is a fantasy historical fiction. So it's Edwardian England. It's pretty much our world, except there's magic. Magic is really secretive though. So people who don't have magic don't really know about it unless they are somebody who is born into a magical family but is born without magic. And this book starts with like in chapter 1, that this character is being tortured by this mysterious group of people because they think he has something that they want, but he has a spell placed on him that isn't letting him tell this group of people what they want to know. And then at the end of that first chapter, you jump into Edwin and Robin, and Edwin is from a magical family. He doesn't have a lot of magic, and he's very insecure about that, having two siblings who are really powerful. And he goes to the office for the character from the beginning and realizes he's gone and meets his replacement, Robin. And Robin doesn't know anything about magic. He is what they refer to as a paperwork error. Like he shouldn't have been put in this job. but he is. And so the two of them get sucked into the mystery of what happened to the character from the first chapter and what this mysterious group of people are chasing after. So it's a mystery, it's a romance, it's fantasy, it's lovely, and I'm so happy I reread it. I don't know that I rated it as high as I did when I first read it. I think when I first read it, I gave it 5 stars. And this time, I'm using Cawpile to try out for a rating system this year. And I think my Cawpile came out to like a 4.5 stars. And I rounded it up to 4.75. It just didn't quite feel like a 5-star read. I can't tell you, I haven't really figured out why it wasn't a 5-star read for me yet. So I have to think about it some more. Like what I would have wanted Freya Marsk to do more of or to add in that would bump it up to a 5-star. But I still, if you like fantasy romance, if you like Half a Soul, but you haven't read this yet, I would really recommend it. I think it's not exactly cozy fantasy, but it's I would say adjacent, maybe like a step up from cozy fantasy. So yeah, lovely book. All right, and the last book I read this week, I actually read it last night, and it's The Night Eaters by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. Okay, so this is the duo that writes the Monstrous series, which I love the Monstrous series. And I was really excited when I saw that this had come out. I think Sana, I keep saying her last name wrong. Sana Takeda's illustrations are gorgeous and stunning, and I love Marjorie Liu's writing style. I think I hated my reading experience of this. Not because, again, illustrations are wonderful, really impactful, storytelling is great, but this leans into horror even more than Monstrous does, and that is not a good time for me. So, love the writing, love the illustrations, hated my reading experience, if that makes sense. I haven't sat down to figure out my rating for this yet because I don't know how to rate something that I think is really good, but my experience, because of who I am as a reader, isn't good. It'll probably be around 4 stars. Maybe 3.5. I don't know. I also might go on Storygraph and see what other reviews are like. Sometimes that helps me, especially if it's from people who read more horror than I do. I think I just started getting into horror towards the end of 2022, and I'm still doing like a lot of speculative, like gothic horror, than like straight up, like make you pee your pants, you're so scared horror. Well, that wasn't that bad. This was still pretty creepy. But this is book 1 in a trilogy. Book 2 is going to come out in the fall of 2023. I don't know if I'm going to continue. I probably will. But I will not be buying this for my collection because I would have nightmares for the rest of my life. So, no. Oh, that is what I finished this week. As for what I am currently reading, I am still reading The Way of Kings on my Kobo. I didn't mention it last time, but if anybody doesn't know, Kobo is a e-reader company. They're Canadian. They're an alternative to Amazon if you are looking for an alternative to Amazon. I've had my Kobo for 2.5 years and I'm a fan. I like it a lot. Back to Way of Kings. I'm 29% of the way through. I am still liking it. Here's my spicy take. This might not be a spicy take. Why do we need books that are over 1,000 pages long? Why? Just why? It's my opinion about books is the same as it is for movies. I don't think books should be over 500 pages, with a few exceptions. My general opinion is usually that authors are being too precious about their words, and it could be shorter. it can be shorter, or it could be split up into multiple books. I think 1,000 pages is just too long. And I think for movies, if your movie is over 2.5 hours, it is too long and you could edit it down. That's my spicy take. And I am almost done with Lost in the Moment and Found by Seanan McGuire. Let me put my Kobo down so I can hold this properly. This is the latest book in the Wayward Children series. I kept to my resolution. If you watched my last video, this came out on Tuesday. I bought it on Tuesday and I started it on Tuesday. But even though it's not even 150 pages, it is probably the saddest Wayward Children book I have read so far. There is a content warning for grooming at the beginning, and even though the child leaves before anything can happen, the threat and the fear that she feels is really potent at the beginning. And even now that she's like gone through her door and she's in her world, which is not a spoiler. Like if you've read this series, you know, this is how they go. It's still really sad for me to read. So I've been reading it pretty slow because I just need to take breaks because it's pretty much breaking my heart to read. So yeah, but I will probably finish it later on today. I'll report back on it next week. But if you are a Wayward Children fan, this is really beautiful. It's just really sad. Oh, I am also listening to A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik on audio. I just started it yesterday. I've only tried to read Naomi Novik one time before. I tried to read Spinning Silver, I think when it first came out, and I ended up DNFing it because there are 3 POVs, if I remember correctly, in that book, and she didn't do a good job of differentiating when she switched POVs for me. Anyways, I ended up getting really confused. I ended up having to backtrack a lot because I would think we were in one character's POV only to realize we are in another person's. So this is really my first Naomi Novik. But it's pretty interesting so far. So I don't know that I'm excited about it because it's one of those audiobooks where I got an advanced copy of the audiobook from Libro FM, like right when it first came out. So it's one of those audiobooks that I've just had for so long, and I'm trying to be better about listening to those audiobooks that I've had for a really long time, like from back when I was a bookseller. So I will see how this goes. So I'm not excited, but I am intrigued. I really like the character voice in that first chapter. So I am interested to see where this goes. As for what I am hoping to read as we roll into the next week, I am going to start A Restless Truth, which is the follow-up to A Marvelous Light. I'm going to start this once I finish the Seanan McGuire. This one, all I know about it is that it's sapphic and it's on a ship. Is it pirates? I don't think it's pirates. But there's a ship. Is it pirates? Magic, murder, shipboard romance. That sounds great. Oh, and I don't even know. Oh, it's Maud. Okay, so it's the younger sister of one of the characters from A Marvelous Light. It's her book. I'm kind of bummed. I thought it was Adelaide's book for some reason. I wonder if Adelaide's going to get a book. I'm going to have to go do some internet research. I really want Adelaide to have a book. But anyways, I am very excited for this book. I think it's really pretty. I love this cover. I hope this book is just as achingly romantic as A Marvelous Light was. And then the last book I am hoping to start in this next week is I have a ARC of The Terraformers by Anna Lee Newitz. She is a science fiction and author and a science journalist, I believe. I haven't read any of her books yet, She has a book that was really going around back at the beginning of the summer, back when the Dobbs decision came down. She has a book called The Future of Another Timeline, which is like a time travel book where abortion is a really key component. I haven't read it yet because I'm a little afraid of it. I want to, but I'm afraid of it. But this is her new one that comes out on the 31st, and I love the cover. And I've been listening to Annalee Newitz and Charlie Jane Anders, who is another science fiction author, have a podcast together called Our Opinions Are Correct. And I've been listening to that podcast for about 7 months now. And I really love listening to them discuss like nerd culture. So I'm excited to finally read one of her books because I have read a Charlie Jane Anders book already, but not Annalee Newitz. So yeah. That's very cool. Also, if you are an author event person, I got an email from the Fountain bookstore. I'll link it down below. I'll do my research and I'll link the correct thing. But on the 31st, Annalee Newitz and Martha Wells are doing a virtual event together to talk about her new book. So yeah, so that's what I'm planning on starting hopefully in the next week. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for this long weekend. We have had kind of a rough couple of days emotionally. Having two preteens is a ride. And there's lots of feelings and lots of hormones. And so I'm really looking forward to having kind of just a chill weekend. Fingers crossed. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you have any books you want to share with me, I would love to hear about them in the comments. If you don't really want to say anything but want to leave something, let's do a tree emoji since there's that big tree on the terraformers. And yeah, and I hope you all have a lovely weekend and read some really great books. Okay, bye.